Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters. I'm your host, Mitch. Glad to have you here. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about Commander on a budget. Today we've got an episode of Spare Change. Some episodes just don't fit in any of my other playlists, so this is where they end up. The topics on these episodes can vary pretty widely, so stay tuned to see what's in store for this one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. And while you're at it, subscribe and review our podcast as well. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters. I'm your host, Mitch. Glad to have you here. So today's going to be a bit of a different kind of episode. Basically, I woke up this morning not expecting to be recording an episode. And then, the announcements came out this morning that very much changed the schedule for the day. So here we are. Basically, this episode's going to be a bit more casual. I'm trying to get this video out as quickly as I can. I'm still trying to make it high quality, but I've got two cameras right now, just in case I screw things up a bit too much and have to edit some things, but I'm hoping not to, so hopefully I just get through this in one take, and please put up with any of my mistakes, which are bound to happen. But basically, the Rules Committee came out with their April 2020 rules update this morning, and it had a couple of probably expected things, and one potentially really unexpected thing that happened as well. So let's tackle things one at a time and kind of talk about implications, talk about my opinion on the subject, and let's just have a nice conversation here. So basically, the rules update started off with talking about Companion. Companion, essentially, for those of you who haven't heard, is a new mechanic that was brought in Ikoria, and basically it's this extra 101st card that requires you to build your deck in a certain way to actually meet that requirement so that you can use it. An example would be Gyruda. I believe the requirement, I don't have it in front of me, apologies. Gyruda, the requirement is that each non-land card in your deck has to have a converted mana cost that is even. So basically, if your entire deck has even converted mana cost cards, then you can use Gyruda as your companion, as long as it also fits within your deck requirements as well, your restrictions. And your commander has to fit the restriction too. So basically, companions are kind of a different thing because previously, we really haven't used any outside the game cards, and these are kind of outside the game. And so sideboards, as many of you have known, are not part of Commander. They might be part of other formats, but they're not part of Commander. So basically, sideboards, these kind of have to be basically in the sideboard, but not in the sideboard. It's convoluted and confusing, but basically what they did is they just tweaked one rule in Rule 11, which now says abilities which bring other cards you own from outside the game into the game, such as Living Wish, Sponsor of Ulamog, Karn the Great Creator, do not function in Commander. Basically, they said other now kind of makes it so that Companion works. Just adding in that one word basically now makes it so that Companion works in Commander. That gets to the next part of their announcement, which was probably expected by many. Lutri is confirmed banned. Essentially, when it was spoiled, it was kind of like hey, this is most likely 99.999% sure going to be banned. Basically, Lutri, for those of you who don't know, is a companion. I should have it in front of me, but things just didn't. They're different today. Lutri basically has a requirement that each non-land card in your deck has to have a different name. Obviously, in Commander, for any deck that's not Persistent Petitioners, Relentless Rats, any of those, is going to meet that requirement. So essentially, just any deck that has both red and blue could use it as a free 101st card. It's basically a 3/2 that can copy an instant or sorcery, I believe. So even if it was just a vanilla 3/2, it still would have been banned, because just giving, a certain color combination just a free 101st card that basically just, is always part of your hand like your commander to start is not really kind of what, Commander is about, kind of giving free advantages to certain things. So it had to be banned. It was confirmed banned. They basically said they hate the idea of banning a card prior to release, but basically because this is a very different circumstance where this one just is clearly ban worthy because of the inherent advantage that it gives those types of decks. It just had to be banned, unfortunately. So basically, yeah, all the other companions, I think there's 10 in total. Lutri is banned, so 9 of them you can use in the format. Yorion cannot be used as a companion because you cannot meet the requirement of 120 cards for your deck. But Yorion can be used in your deck as one of the 99, or it can be a commander. But Lutri is just overall banned. Again, there's no just banned as companion. When it comes to the rules, or when it comes to the rules of the format, they used to have, banned as commander. They got rid of that back in, 2013 or something. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to get some comments. No, actually, it was 2014. Anyway, I didn't have too much time to do all the research I needed this morning on this stuff, so apologies. But now to the kind of main topic today, and the kind of one that came out of left field for some, including myself. Didn't really see this coming, but that would be Flash. And I'm just going to read the rules committee's wording on this first, and then let's discuss it. So, speaking of exceptional decisions, we are banning Flash, in parentheses, the card, not the mechanic. Enough cEDH players who we trust have convinced us that this is the only change they need for the environment they seek to cultivate. Though they represent a small fraction of the Commander player base, we are willing to make this effort for them. It should not be taken as a signal that we are considering any kind of change in how we intend to manage the format. This is an extraordinary step and one that we are unlikely to repeat. We use the ban list to guide players in how to approach the format, and hope Flash's role on this list will be to signal cheating things into play quickly in non-interactive ways isn't interesting, don't do that. We believe Commander is best as a social-focused format and will not be making any changes to accommodate tournament play. Taking responsibility for your and your opponent's fun, including setting expectations with your group, is a fundamental part of the Commander philosophy. Organizers who want to move towards more untrusted games should consider adding additional rules or guidance to create the Commander experience they want to offer. So, Flash, for those of you that don't know, has been a card that's been heavily debated recently in the past year or so in the cEDH community, or in the Commander community in general. Flash has been kind of a decisive topic. It's a card, I'll just read it real quick first. It says you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you do, sacrifice it unless you pay its mana cost reduced by up to 2. It's an instant for 1 in a blue. Basically, this was used in combination with Protean Hulk. Let me read Protean Hulk. When Protean Hulk dies, search your library for any creature cards with total converted mana cost 6 or less and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It's a 6/6 beast for 5 green. So basically, what you would do is you'd cast Flash, you put Protean Hulk into play, you'd cheat it into play, it would die, and then you'd get a certain combination of creatures that just essentially immediately win you the game. I don't play cEDH, which is also known as competitive EDH. I should have mentioned that before as well. And so I don't know the exact interactions that you really need, but from what I've heard, is extremely hard to stop and to deal with. Just very kind of non-interactive. Thassa's Oracle, which came out recently in Theros Beyond Death, kind of also really threw a wrench into things and making it really a lot harder to interact with and stop. Again, I'm not an expert on playing competitive. I'm just here telling you what I've heard. So basically, Flash has been banned. This has been something that's been debated over the past year or 2 years. I'm not sure exactly how long. But basically, kind of the competitive side of the community, this has been a problem for quite a while and became even a bigger problem when Thassa's Oracle came out. But the casual side really hasn't seen an issue with Flash. Flash Hulk decks really aren't a part of the casual kind of metagame, and it's not a card that really... It doesn't see a ton of play, to be honest. I think I got some stats here. I did do some research on that. So, Flash was played in very low numbers outside of cEDH. Basically, on EDH Rec, it's got 2,870 decks total, which is 2% of possible decks that it can possibly be in. Most of those, the vast majority, are cEDH decks. So, again, there are definitely some casual players out there that are going to have to take this out of their deck if they're going to be following the bans. And we'll talk about kind of my conclusion later on this kind of stuff. Again, I did do some research on this this morning, quickly, hastily. But basically, Flash has been banned to make cEDH a more healthy environment. It's kind of like, I don't want to say an olive branch, but basically the rules committee prior had not been making kind of any any changes based off of just one way to play Commander. The competitive way to play Commander. There haven't been changes made just for that specific kind of subset of players. Essentially, the reasoning was that Rule 0 basically covers that, and Rule 0 is basically kind of the social contract, the unwritten rules. Don't combo off on turn 2. Don't blow up people's lands, like those kind of things. And cEDH is basically Commander without a Rule 0, without that social contract. You're just playing the most powerful competitive decks out there, and everyone agrees to that. And the people who play cEDH very much enjoy that. The people who don't. So people just are allowed to enjoy Commander and however they want. So there's nothing right or wrong on one side or the other. But basically, again, Flash banned to help the competitive community because Flash has been such a problem. Let's go through some positives and negatives first, and then I'll talk about kind of my opinion on this and kind of my conclusion, I guess. So again, I talked about how Flash barely sees play. Let's start with the positives. Flash barely sees play in casual. There are some decks that use it. Basically, you might have a couple decks. Maybe you have a deck or two in your meta that plays Flash, but 2% is a very kind of it's a low amount of play that is seen, and again, most of that is competitive. cEDH is becoming healthier. cEDH should become healthier with this, and cEDH is a growing part of the Commander community. There are plenty of great competitive channels out there that have been popping up lately. Casually competitive, the Spike Feeders, Playing with Power. A lot of great ones out there, so go ahead and check those out if you're interested, and potentially learning more about competitive, because again, I'm not a good resource for that. But basically, it very much helps competitive players, and it really doesn't hurt casuals too much. Again, there are some decks affected, but not many. It shows that the rules committee is willing to hear other perspectives, and adjust their thinking over time. So again, previously their response has just been pretty much to say Rule 0 covers that. We're not making decisions for one specific part of the community. This shows that they are willing over time to kind of listen and make adjustments, and not just some would say being stuck in their ways. I don't really think it's that. I just think that it's you need to make adjustments and do what you think's best for the format. And we'll get to this later, but the rules committee has an impossible job. You can't make everyone happy. Negatives. A ban is a ban. Overall, I'm against banning cards. In casual, Flash is not a problem. Flash is very much not a problem in casual. I think I've seen it cast once, and it was in a fair quote unquote way. It wasn't to sacrifice Protean Hulk to go get a combo to win. It was basically just for value, to get an ETB or to reanimate something. Even though not many casuals are playing this card, I'm sure there's some who were. And now they need to replace a card in their deck to no fault of their own. But basically, there are certain decks out there like Mimeoplasm, plays Flash. And Mimeoplasm, to my knowledge, isn't that competitive of a deck. But basically, in a Mimeoplasm deck, you play Flash, you get a creature out of your hand. Maybe they have got a good ETB. You get that ETB, and then they're in your graveyard so that you can copy them with Mimeoplasm. So there are decks that utilize Flash in a healthy, quote unquote, healthy way that are being punished for this. So that is an unfortunate side effect. I would say that obviously, I would say that there are more people that are being helped out with this ban than are being hurt by it. There are definitely more competitives out there, cEDH players that play Flash than casuals do. So more people are going to benefit from this than be hurt by it. Again, it's impossible for everyone to get what they want. The rules committee has an impossible job. So it's just like, it is what it is. It's a decision that I wouldn't want to be on the forefront of making. And again, please do not just spam the rules committee on social media and tell them that they're wrong or whatnot. They deal with enough as it is. They do a great job, a pretty much thankless job for the most part. And they're working their hardest to try to make this format the best that can be and to keep it healthy. It is the best format in Magic right now. It's the most popular format in Magic, and they're doing a great job. So please send them words of kindness, not hateful words, even if you don't agree with this ban. Okay. In conclusion, even though I'm against bans, I do lean towards this being the right decision. Again, it helps out a ton of players. It helps out that cEDH community a lot. And it's not hurting that many casuals. I do feel for the players, again, that Mimeoplasm player that just happens to have it in their deck and likes it. And it's a good part of their deck, and it's not broken in their deck. but it is kind of a best for the many versus the few. And again, I'm sure that's going to be twisted in the other way because yes, the cEDH community is a smaller part of the overall Commander community, but as I said, I believe that the cEDH community is growing. I do not think that it's I don't think it's a small 5% tiny percentage of the Commander community in general. If I had to guess, again, this is based off of a random survey I did a little while back. It's around 15 or 20% of the community. So it's a good portion. It's a good size of the community. Not that that should be a reason to continually make these bans. And that's actually the last part of my conclusion. Is basically I do think that this was probably the right decision, but I do want to say that I think that it could be dangerous to set a precedent where a smaller portion of the Commander player base can influence what cards are banned based on what is broken or not broken within their specific piece of the format. So again, Flash, not bad for casuals, very bad for cEDH. So it is banned. This shouldn't be kind of a precedent that is set so that, when the next, boogeyman of the format comes up, and if it has the exact same kind of thing where, it's terrible and not terrible, but it's not ban-worthy in casual, but it is extremely ban-worthy in cEDH, that should not be a reason to ban it just outright. This should not be, the precedent set. Well, back in April of 2020, you banned Flash to help out the competitive community, so why not do it now? And I think that the Flash is probably, it's more so on the, it's on the not easier side to ban, but let's say that, a very popular casual card somehow becomes ban worthy in competitive. I'm not going to name one right now, but let's just say one does. Then what happens then? If the competitive community is, being very vocal about needing that one banned so that the health of their piece of the format can stay healthy, I don't think that the rules committee is going to ban it if a lot of casuals enjoy playing it. I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think it should happen. Again, I don't think that precedent should be set. I think this is, again, I believe they said an exception. Let's see, let me get the words right so I'm not misquoting them. They said that this is an extraordinary step and one that they're unlikely to repeat. And I know that there's going to be people on both sides of this that are going to say, yes, please, I'm fine with Flash being banned, but please do not continue to do this. And I know there's going to be people on the other side that are saying, well, what if it happens again? That's, you shouldn't say that, it should never happen again. Just, take things day by day, please. And, it's going to be circumstantial. It's going to be circumstance by circumstance, and, they're doing the best they can. So, again, thank your rules committee, please. Thank the Commander Advisory Group people. They all do a great job. At the end of the day, though, I always say this, Commander is a social format, so just talk. If you and your playgroup still want to play Flash or play with Flash, allow it. It's completely fine. The rules committee can't come to your house and take your Flash away from you. If you're that Mimeoplasm player, and you've, gotten your deck, and you talk to your buddies and you say, like, even though it's banned, may I use this card? They might be fine with that, and if they are, that's great. Play it. If not, find something to replace it. There are plenty of great options out there. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all for today. Again, yeah, this is a pretty monumental decision, I believe, when it comes to banning a card for one portion of the format to help out with that. Even though it might not, either affect casual players or it might negatively impact some casual players. Again, at the end of the day, I do think it was the right decision. I'm glad I wasn't the one making the decision because I know that, it's against the thankless job. Please thank the Rules Committee and the Commander Advisory Group for all their hard work. Even if you don't agree with this decision, they're doing their best to keep this format healthy. Again, it's the most popular format in Magic for a reason. They do a great job. So, yeah, thank you, Rules Committee. Thank your Commander Advisory Group. And, yeah, thank you. So, thanks again, and have a good one. And make sure you're following us on social media for more updates and sneak peeks on future episodes. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons who help make this show possible. I truly couldn't do any of this without your support. If you want to support this channel directly, consider becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, including being able to vote on future commanders for deck techs. There are even tiers where you get your own personalized deck tech dedicated to you. You can check out all the Patreon tiers and rewards at patreon.com/commandersquarters. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about budget Commander. So while you're at it, go ahead and check out some of our other types of episodes. And with that, I'm out of here. Thanks again and have a good one.